Oh, damn it, I forgot my cup. I have a funny story that requires a prop. I also have 2 other stories that don't require props.
Okay, which one you want to start with? Do you want to go get a prop?
No, I'll tell you, of course I bought the Monet print to send to you, and then Jason made a frame for the Monet print you gave me, and I hung it up, and then I held up the other one, and they're 2 different prints. It's the same scene, it's the same location, it's the same time of day, and the sun is still that orangey disc, but it's a completely different painting. And I was like I picked it out online and it was this big and I thought it was the same one, but I'm like, well, I can't give this to Heather. It's the wrong painting. Damn you, Monet. It's got the tree and the bush and the lake and the sun, and it's wrong. So I gave it to Mom for her birthday.
Okay.
Among other things, like I actually got her real presents too, but I also told her the funny story and then was like, it's a beautiful print, but I have 0 use for it, and I didn't even open the cardboard until it was way too late to return it, so
I did I know that you had gotten me a Monet print? I don't know if you told me.
I don't know. No, I don't think I did. It was meant to be a birthday present, or
Okay.
maybe solstice, one of those things that we haven't managed to celebrate together for a while.
Yeah.
So, did you get yourself that print?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I will keep searching for it. And the other story is a dream I had, and I have told like 150 people about this dream because it was a really, really good dream.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you the dream. I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday. I dreamed that a time bubble grabbed me in like a corner of my room and dropped us in somewhere in England 6 years ago. And in wandering around, I discovered that this was Terry Pratchett's town.
Mm-hmm.
And that it was 6 years ago. That it was 1 week before. So in my dream, it wasn't Alzheimer's that he was struggling with. It was like a brain tumor, and I knew that he was going to undergo like an experimental surgery, and he wasn't going to wake up from it. Like that was my knowledge when I figured out where and when I was. It's a week before that. And then I ran into him at the newsagents, and I was just like, "Hi, I'm your American fan from the future." And he
As
was
one
like,
would, yes.
yeah. And he was like, okay, fine, that works. I don't want to think about, I don't want to just sit here feeling anxious. So let's do stuff. So we spent a week being hooligans. I spent a week in Dreamtime with Terry Pratchett getting pedicures and drinking whiskey on the church steps at midnight while talking philosophy. And and at one point we tried shoplifting and we were really bad at it and we got caught and he runs like an old man. It felt like a week of real time. And sometimes his wife and daughter came along and sometimes it was just us, but it was just like an amazing week of randomness and like ice cream and this stuff. And I just tried not to think about what I knew. And on the last night before the surgery, we were sitting in the rubble that was all that was left of my room and sharing a beer, I guess, and looking at the view. And I said, thank you. He said, what for? And I said, for this week and for not asking me whether or not you make it. And he looked up. There was one wall still standing of my room, and there was a portrait that I haven't painted, but I had in the dream of him. It didn't look like a memorial portrait. It was just a painting of him. He looked at it for a couple minutes, and then he looked at me, and he said, oh, I know I don't make it. And they handed me the beer. And then it was the next day, and he was hugging everybody goodbye, and the whole town waved him off and said good luck. And I woke up sobbing my heart out. But I got to spend a week with Terry Pratchett. Shoplifting.
Poorly.
And talking about, like, stuff, just stuff. It was really fucking magical, and also, like, one of the few times I've had a dream where when someone's like, "Well, what do you suppose it meant?" I'm like, It doesn't need to mean anything. It is I want it to be literal."
Right? Like, who wants a meaning for that?
Yeah, no. It means I got to spend a week with Terry Pratchett. And of course, the first thing I did was post this story in the book club, and I've got like 190 comments saying, "I'm crying now, you bitch," basically. Like, and damn, that's awesome, and that should be a short story, but I don't know that I would make it a short story, but if it's like it's more of an anecdote at this point. I'll go get the mug.
Okay. All right. Well, she's getting the mug. Let me see if I have any exciting anecdotes. Oh, so here's an anecdote. When I was younger, in our hometown, we had like a family friend, and he was doing some excavation in his yard at one point, and he dug up a steamer trunk that someone had buried in his yard. Looked like, I don't remember how old he said it looked, but like a steamer trunk, so not modern. We don't really have those anymore. And he was telling me this story a few years later. So I wasn't there when this all happened, but he was telling me the story. And I said, "Well, what was in the steamer trunk?" And he said, "Oh, I didn't open it. I didn't want anything to do with that. I just buried it again." This is, I was telling the internet the story of when Louis dug up a steamer trunk in his yard. And never opened it, just buried it again.
Just reburied it. Oh god, that was so funny. And we were like, "Louis."
Right, to this day. I'm like, "Louis."
All right, so this is my new favorite mug.
Oh, I think I saw that on Instagram. Gosh, that's beautiful.
Right? That's so
That's
pretty.
so cool how the glaze goes.
Yeah, it reminds me of paint. And so Nicole Duke is a potter, and she said, "Oh, I can't sell it because it shipped on its way out of the kiln." In a couple of places, actually, there too.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think anything would come of it, but I was like, "I've got paintings I can't sell." Right? And she was like, "Yeah, sure." So she sent that to me, and she got it in the mail on Monday when I was sick, and it was like Thursday by the time I managed to get to the post office. So instead of just sending the painting, which was small and modest, and yeah, the mug's definitely worth more than that. I sent her a Pisonki egg and the zombie alphabet coloring book because I've seen her husband's videos, and anyone's got that kind of sense of humor, it's probably them as a family. I hope. And I've been stressing about it ever since because, of course, it's that social anxiety thing where I'm like,
Yeah.
everything.
Was my art good enough?
Am I good enough? Is my everything good enough? And I'm put in a little note about how like the Pisonki eggs aren't something I sell. That's just a friends and family art thing, and that was because again I've watched Bobby Duke's videos and he does egg art that so like again based on random shit I might know because of the internet. I have some grip on their aesthetic. I tried. Mainly, I just wanna be her friend because she seems like a really cool person.
See, now I'm just like, I gotta go look up her pottery.
Right?
Super cool.
She's got an Etsy shop, but because she does, like, short runs and they're all so unique, and, there's only ever, like, 2 or 3 in the shop at a time, and they sell out really quick.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And she charges really, really decent prices for them too. So
Sweet. Well, I'm going to be so as you may or may not know, but I think I've told you this, that Sandy and I for like the last 4 years have had an agreement, like no more mugs. We have at least 10 mugs per human in this house. Probably more like 15 per human. So we're not like no more mugs. Well, since I'm moving next week, the compact is officially ended. And in fact, Sandy got me a mug as a housewarming present. Have you seen the Calamity Ware mugs?
I love Calamity Ware.
Yeah, she got me one
They're
of
doing
those.
shower curtains now too. Have you seen those?
Yes, she got one for their new place. That's why that's why she like did an order from them, but she got the sea monster one.
Nice. That is awesome. Oh.
Yeah. So
I think that's the one I saw an ad for, so I want the whole set for tea, like, except I barely drink tea anymore. And this thing holds like a pint of coffee. This can keep me going all day. I generally only fill it about yay full so that it doesn't just get cold, but it holds heat marvelously well too. So it's like, look at okay, so this is my favorite part. Look at this handle. It's got like a cute little thing going on.
Now that you've said that, I totally see it. Oh man. The other thing that I'm shopping for right now is a new tea kettle.
Ooh.
My tea kettle was like 10 years old, and I was like, okay, getting a new one. So I have one that I think I'm going to get that has a temperature gauge on the side, so you can stop it, like at cooler temperatures for like green tea and stuff.
Oh, that's clever.
Right? They have some that you can just preset, like only go to this temperature, and they have like multiple temperatures you can set it to, but they all beep when they're done, and I don't need any more beeping in my life.
What else might you need for housewarming?
Ooh, good question.
A Monet print?
A Monet print would be cool. Let me think about it. I have a list somewhere, but I have gotten a fair amount of the stuff from the list because it's like, I just got a vacuum. Ooh, I got a robot vacuum.
Ooh, Roomba time.
I was so excited. But yeah, so let me look at my list and I will let you know.
To text me or something.
I shall.
And there's always stuff that you don't think of until you're living on your own and you're like, wait, why do I only have like 3/4 of a hand towel?
Indeed. In fact, like hand towels are something I don't have.
I knew it.
Like hand towels, tea towels, like kitchen towels, pot holders, stuff like that will definitely be stuff that I'll need that I don't have yet.
Nice. I am reading tonight, right?
I have no idea. I'm gonna say yes.
Usually I can tell because the book is like over there instead of over here, and the book was over there. So I'm like, okay, I didn't read last time.
Yeah, I think I read last time. That sounds right. I don't have any projects to hand because all of my shit's packed. But I will do something on my phone and try to be extra clever to make up for the lack of crafts.
Okay, we shall come up with things. I'm definitely not at the right part of the book.
Guess what I found while I was packing?
What?
2 pages. Only 2, not all, unfortunately, but 2 pages of our Lord of the Rings musical scores.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Which ones? Which ones?
It had "Don't Cry for Me, Minas Tirith," "Bearer of the Ring," "Fellowship of Ring."
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, is that the one that was?
He walked up to me and he asked me if I'd carry the ring.
Yeah, no, the other one. That was Oh, is Fellowship of we are part of the Fellowship of Rings. The Fellowship of Rings. Fellowship of Rings.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What else?
And it only had the first couple lines of "Holding Out for a Hobbit," but that's fine because we both have that memorized.
Oh yeah.
I
think we finished that one later in any case.
Yeah. I think that's everything that was on there. And then like a little tiny snippet of Sauron will come out tomorrow. It's sung by the people of Minas Tirith.
Sauron will come out
tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow we'll be dead. Just thinking about tomorrow and the way Sauron will come out tomorrow fills me with dread. We were so clever.
We were so clever. That was for the benefit of the internet. Mom and Dad and the two of us sat down for several hours one evening after dinner and did this just because it was a fun time had by all.
It was
so indeed wholesome. We sound so fucking wholesome.
Look, we're extremely wholesome if you leave out the part where we talked a lot about blood and guts at the dinner table.
Oh yeah, and mold and poo. Not always poo, but you know, if there had been poo at work because Dad was nursing sometimes, we'd get to hear about it at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck to do about Avi being obsessed with leaving the table before anybody else is done eating. Like, he knows that that's against the rule, and he does it, and then acts like he's someone stomping on a puppy when we try and get him back to the table. It's like, dude, it's a very simple house rule. I have to bite my tongue to keep from being like, are you stupid?
Yeah, definitely don't say that.
No, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, it's so simple.
Why is he leaving the table?
So he can go watch TV, which he's not allowed to do. And we have to have this conversation every night. And about half the time, I'm just like, I don't want to. So he decides that he's won and he goes and watches TV. And I'm like, fucking 9. Hate it.
I mean, if it works half the time, he's going to keep doing it because it works half the time.
Right?
Those are pretty good odds for getting to do something you're not supposed to do.
And the other half the time, he gets to make my life miserable. So those are the choices. I don't know. I'll figure some shit out.
He either gets TV or he gets your attention.
Mike keeps making, well, not keeps making, but like once or twice he's made a snarky comment about how I ought to spank him. And I'm like, dude, if I'm going to administer any beatings in this house, they're not going to stop with the 9-year-old.
I'm sorry, but that's such a good line.
Do. Oh, we've made it to the end of the chapter, hadn't we?
Oh yeah, we had.
So we're at Journey to the Crossroads, and we've got 15 minutes.
There we go.
Spyro?
It's a dragon game where you breed dragons and also grow little plants and stuff.
Nice.
So that's what I'll be doing this evening for the next.
I wish you could just like do it on your computer and share your screen.
That would be great, wouldn't it? But it's a mobile game, so I can't.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, we can all watch it reflected in your glasses. Up there.
Oh no, that's you.
Oh.
I'd have to be, where am I here? Yeah, I don't know. Here, I can do this.
There you go.
Now I can't really see it, but we're working on it.
Okay, you figure that out. I'll do chapter 7, Journey to the Crossroads. Frodo and Sam returned to their beds and lay there in silence, resting for a little, while men bestirred themselves and the business of the day began. After a while, water was brought to them, and then they were led to a table where food was set for 3. Faramir broke his fast with them. He had not slept since the battle on the day before, yet he did not look weary, because he's
I'm Faramir. I don't need to sleep like you mortals.
right.
Yeah, whatever.
Gandalf taught me a trick about getting by without sleep.
He's just chugging Red Bull behind the scenes.
No, I learned it from the wizard. It was after he taught me about mind reading. But before he told me about the ancient lore of the city.
I mean, you're assuming here that Gandalf wasn't just chugging Red Bull behind the scenes, and can we assume that?
It would explain a lot.
Wouldn't you
know? Pipe weed is just powdered Red Bull.
I don't like it in its liquid state, so that's extra upsetting for me.
Right? When they had finished, they stood up. "May no hunger trouble you on the road," said Faramir. "You have little provision, but some small store of food fit for travelers I have ordered to be stowed in your packs. You will have no lack of water as you walk in Ithilien, but do not drink of any stream that flows from Imlad Morgul, the Valley of Living Death. This also I must tell you. My scouts and watchers have all returned, even some that have crept within sight of the Morannon. They all find a strange thing. The land is empty. Nothing is on the road, and no sound of foot or horn or bowstring is anywhere to be heard. A waiting silence broods above the nameless land. I do not know what this portends, but the time draws swiftly to some great conclusion. Storm is coming. Hasten while you may. If you are ready, let us go. The sun will soon rise above the shadow." The hobbits' packs were brought to them, a little heavier than they had been, and also 2 stout staves of polished wood, shod with iron, and with carven heads through which ran plaited leathern thongs. "I have no fitting gifts to give you at our parting," said Faramir, "but take these staves. They may be of service to those who walk or climb in the wild. The men of the White Mountains use them, though these have been cut down to your height and newly shod." Can you imagine being that blacksmith in the middle of the night, in the middle of Ithilien? Faramir comes to you, is like, "Cut these down and reshoe them," and you're like, "It's 2 a.m, Captain." And he's like, "Uh-huh."
Have some Red Bull. Get it done. Okay, how tall do you want him? 2 feet. Seriously? So you're fucking with me, right?
Right.
I am Faramir. I do not fuck with people.
I would not fuck with an orc.
Look, no one would fuck with an orc.
They are made of the fair tree Lebethron, beloved of the woodwrights of Gondor, and a virtue has been set upon them, of finding and returning. May that virtue not wholly fail under the shadow into which you go. The hobbits bowed low. "Most gracious host," said Frodo, "it was said to me by Elrond Half-Elven that I should find friendship upon the way, secret and unlooked for. Certainly I looked for no such friendship as you have shown. To have found it turns evil to great good." Now they made ready to depart. Gollum was brought out of some corner or hiding hole, and he seemed better pleased with himself than he had been, though he kept close to Frodo and avoided the glance of Faramir. Your guide must be blindfolded," said Faramir, "but you and your servant Samwise I release from this, if you wish." Gollum squealed and squirmed and clutched at Frodo when they came to bind his eyes. And Frodo said, "Blindfold us all three, and cover up my eyes first, and then perhaps he will see that no harm is meant." This was done, and they were led from the cave of Henneth-Annwn. After they had passed the passages and stairs, they felt the cool morning air, fresh and sweet, about them. Still blind, they went on for some little time, up and then gently down. At last the voice of Faramir ordered them to be uncovered. They stood under the boughs of the woods again. No noise of the falls could be heard, for a long southward slope lay now between them and the ravine in which the stream flowed. To the west they could see light through the trees, as if the world came there to a sudden end, at a brink looking out only onto sky. "Here is the last parting of our ways," said Faramir. "If you take my counsel, you will not turn eastward yet. Go straight on, for thus you will have the cover of the woodland for many miles. On your west is an edge where the land falls into the great vales, sometimes suddenly and sheer, sometimes in long hillsides. Keep near to the edge and the skirts of the forest. In the beginning of your journey you may walk under daylight, I think. The land dreams in a false peace, and for a while all evil is withdrawn. Fare you well while you may." He embraced the hobbits then, after the manner of his people, stooping and placing his hands upon their shoulders and kissing their foreheads. "Go with the good will of all good men," he said. "I can speak for them, because I'm Faramir."
I also feel like if some rando dude that I didn't know very well was trying to say goodbye to me by putting his hands on my shoulders and kissing me on the forehead, I would be really creeped out.
A little bit.
Like, I don't love that. Just in general, prefer people don't do that.
It's kind of Italian, actually.
Yeah, I suppose.
It works. I mean, fortunately, they're not really like conversant with any kind of violation of personal space anywhere in Middle-earth, which might be one of the reasons I keep going back. Like, it's not even on the radar.
That's true. I mean, I just don't like people kissing me on the forehead. But it's not even a violation of personal space. I'm just like,
oh, now you're like a taunt. They bowed to the ground. Then he turned, and without looking back, he left them, and went to his two guards that stood at a little distance away. They marveled to see with what speed these green-clad men now moved, vanishing almost in the twinkling of an eye. The forest where Faramir had stood seemed empty and drear, as if a dream had passed.
He felt dreamy.
He's so dreamy. The first time we read this through, I'm telling the internet, the first time we read this through, we made it like through the rest of this book, and then through part of the first half of the next one before we were like, we miss Faramir. And then we went, so we started, since it's not cross-cut, we did our own cross-cutting for a little while.
Oh, that's right, we did. I forgot about that.
Like, what's he up to? Where's our guy?
Where's my buddy?
And I've done that once or twice. We had, like, someone come to read the meter and find me on the back porch of Harley Lane with both books open, Two Towers and Return of the King, because I was doing my own cross-cutting again, and he was like, whoa.
I really like to read, don't ask questions.
Like, I need Middle-earth, man. I need it.
See, what he didn't know is that normally you also have the movies on in the background.
Frodo sighed and turned back southward, as if to mark his disregard of all such courtesy. Bet you he didn't get kissed. Gollum was scrabbling in the mold at the foot of a tree.
I mean, he probably did not get kissed. That is probably true.
Kissed. Hungry again already, thought Sam. Well, now for it again. Have they gone at last? Said Gollum. Nasty, wicked men. Smeagol's neck still hurts him. Yes, it does. Let's go. Yes, let us go, said Frodo. "But if you can only speak ill of those who showed you mercy, keep silent." "Nice master," said Gollum. "Smeagol was only joking. Always forgives, he does. Yes, yes. Even nice master's little trickses. Oh, yes, nice master. Nice Smeagol." Frodo and Sam did not answer. Hoisting their packs and taking their staves in hand, they passed on into the woods of Ithilien. Twice that day they rested and took a little of the food provided by Faramir, dried fruits and salted meat, enough for many days, and bread enough to last while it was still fresh. Gollum ate nothing. The sun
Typical.
rose and passed overhead unseen and began to sink, and the light through the trees to the west grew golden. And always they walked in cool green shadow, and all about them was silence. The birds seemed all to have flown away, or to have fallen dumb. Darkness came early to the silent woods, and before the fall of night they halted, weary, for they had walked 7 leagues or more from Henneth-Annin. Frodo lay and slept away the night on the deep mold beneath an ancient tree. Sam beside him was more uneasy. He woke many times, but there was never a sign of Gollum, who had slipped off as soon as the others had settled to rest. Whether he had slept by himself in some hole nearby, or had wandered restlessly prowling through the night, he did not say. But he returned with the first glimmer of light and roused his companions. "Must get up, yes, they must," he said. "Long ways to go still, south and east. Hobbits must make haste." That day passed much as the day before had gone, except that the silence seemed deeper. The air grew heavy, and it began to be stifling under the trees. It felt as if thunder was brewing. Gollum often paused, sniffing the air, "Bless you," and then he would mutter to himself and urge them to greater speed.
For a second, I was like, did I not mute? And then I was like, no, she just saw me.
Yeah, I did. I saw you. As the third stage of their day's march drew on and afternoon waned, the forest opened out and the trees became larger and more scattered. Great ilexes of huge girth stood dark and solemn in wide glades, with here and there among them hoary ash trees, and giant oaks just putting out their brown-green buds. About them lay long lawns of green grass dappled with celandine and anemones, white and blue, now folded for sleep. And there were acres populous with the leaves of woodland hyacinths. Already their sleek bell stems were thrusting through the mold. No living creature, beast or bird was to be seen, but in these open places Gollum grew afraid, and they walked now with caution, flitting from one long shadow to another. Light was fading fast when they came to the forest end. There they sat under an old gnarled oak that sent its roots twisting like snakes down a steep crumbling bank. A deep, dim valley lay before them. On its further side the woods gathered again, blue and grey under the sullen evening, and marched on southwards. To the right the mountains of Gondor glowed, remote in the west, under a fire-flecked sky. To the left lay darkness, the towering walls of Mordor, and out of that darkness the long valley came, falling steeply in an ever-widening trough towards the Anduin. At its bottom ran a hurrying stream. Frodo could hear its stony voice coming up through the silence, and beside it on the hither side a road went winding down, like a pale ribbon, down into chill grey mists that no gleam of sunset touched. There it seemed to Frodo that he descried, far off, floating as it were on a shadowy sea, the high dim tops and broken pinnacles of old towers, forlorn and dark. There are times when you can smell the scene that he's written.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's something I always come back to because I know that smell, the edge of the woods at dusk when something bad is going to happen. the sense of a storm when the woods are silent, like, all of that feels familiar and necessary part of the story.
Yeah, and, like, the falling of dusk and the way that shapes slowly kind of blur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the chill of it.
Mhm. Makes me think of camping.
Yeah. Makes me miss camping other than the part where it's kind of, um,
Cold?
for foreboding,
I mean, yes. Typically, we don't get that foreboding during camping. It's more the smell and the dark and the kind of chilliness.
right?
Usually, we're just roasting marshmallows, and I'm just giving you all of my burned ones.
And the silence, walking in the woods when the birds have been upset by something, that silence is a very, palpable thing.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, we're a page from a gap, so I'll read to the gap.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Cool.
I'm just over here, playing my little dragon game, making my little dragons, so
Yeah. I I'm This is the kind of passage that people who are really obsessed with narrative storytelling get upset about. Like, we don't care. They walked for 2 days and nothing happened. Quit telling us about the times when nothing happened. It's like, but the times when nothing happened matter.
yeah,
It-
they do. This is atmospheric storytelling.
yeah.
Like, it's not Sandy
Uh,
and I talk about this sometimes, like, you have the storytelling that's very, plot driven,
mhm.
which is fine.
Yeah.
And you have character driven, which is her and my preference.
Yeah.
Because if things are happening to people that I don't care about, I don't care about the things. And then there's
Discworld is
like,
largely character driven.
hmm?
Discworld is mainly character driven.
Discworld is very character driven and very sneakily conceptual. And then like Tolkien is very atmospheric.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
And I'm
he's
trying
not
to think of anyone else who can achieve the atmospheric storytelling. I think Jane Yolen is another one who can give you, the smell of the scene,
mhm. I
the
haven't read any
dampness
Jane
in
Yolen in
the
a long
air.
time.
I haven't either, but what I chiefly remember is the way the air feels in the worlds she writes. Neil Gaiman too.
Mhm.
Like, I couldn't tell you dick about, uh, any of his characters, but I could tell you the smell of the room when they found, so and so, right? It's like
Yeah, I immediately thought of A Study in Emerald when you said that. I was like, I can tell you what that room smelled like.
well, ugh. But even rooms that don't smell awful, the
Yes.
flickering of the candles against the walls and the mustiness of the books and the like that's what
Mhm.
it's like remembering dreams.
Yeah.
But anyway, La. Broken
Blah.
pinnacles of old towers forlorn and dark. Frodo turned to Gollum. Do you know where we are? He said. Yes, master. Dangerous places. This is the road from the Tower of the Moon, master, down the ruined city by the shores of the river. The ruined city, yes. Very nasty place, full of enemies. We shouldn't have taken men's advice. Hobbits have come a long way out of the path. Must go east now, away up there. He waved his skinny arm towards the darkling mountains. And we can't use this road. Oh no. Cruel peoples come this way, down from the tower. Frodo looked down onto the road. At any rate, nothing was moving on it now. It appeared lonely and forsaken, running down to empty ruins in the mist. Excuse me. But there was an evil feeling in the air, as if things might indeed be passing up and down that eyes could not see. Frodo shuddered as he looked again at the distant pinnacles now dwindling into night, and the sound of the water seemed cold and cruel. The voice of Morgul Duin the polluted stream that flowed from the Valley of the Wraiths. "What shall we do?" he said. "We have walked long and far. Shall we look for some place in the woods behind where we can lie hidden?" "No good hiding in the dark," said Gollum. "It's in day that hobbits must hide now, yes, in day." "Oh, come," said Sam. "We must rest for a bit, even if we get up again in the middle of the night. There'll still be hours of dark then, time enough for you to take us on a long march if you know the way." Gollum reluctantly agreed to this, and he turned back toward the trees, working eastwards for a while along the straggling edges of the wood. He would not rest on the ground so near the evil road, and after some debate they all climbed up into the crotch of a large holm oak, whose thick branches springing together from the trunk made a good hiding place and a fairly comfortable refuge. Night fell, and it grew altogether dark under the canopy of the tree. Frodo and Sam drank a little water and ate some bread and dried fruit, but Gollum at once curled up and went to sleep. The hobbits did not shut their eyes. Da-da-da.
Da-da-da.
Oh, yeah, I love that shit. I read it every year because I gotta feel the mud of Middle-earth in between my toes. Like, that is the part that is important.
That
The
sounds
story
squishy.
the story's beautiful, the characters are awesome, like, I enjoy it for all of the reasons, but it's the squishing of the mud.
I showed you the gift set, right, of you have 4 bears. I found that again the other day, and it cracks me up every time. You have 4 bears?
Oh god, that's
Oh, man. So good. All right, well, darling, it was good to see you as always.
It was good to
And
see you too.
and I will tell dang it, I cannot get that right. There we go. And I will tell the internet, although I've already told you, that we will not be podcasting next Monday, but we will later in the week. So
Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled and stuff.
and stuff.
So, I love you so much, Kudodo.
I love you too, Liamas.
Bye.
Bye.